Okay, hello there everyone. It's once again time to call out Spectrum News New York 1 because we had a major story that happened here in Fresh Meadows yet again that New York 1 clearly ignored. And I want to give the Queens Courier big thanks because we are going to get into a lot more stuff from the Courier later on in this video. But before we get into the New York City stuff, which I normally do on this channel, which that's what Andy's Randomness is normally about, we need to give an update regarding the video I did on Tuesday where I was transferring to the N6 bus from the N25 on Tuesday. So this is the video that I did. We have an update regarding that incident, so I'm going to read this article, and I want to thank Pine Power Alive for leading me to it from this website, dailyvoice.com. So let's read it. Man seriously injured after being hit by the box truck. So, yep, this is the box truck that I had video of. Nobody else had pictures or videos of the truck that was involved in the incident on Tuesday. I'm the only one that had it. So, let's read this article. An 86-year-old man was hospitalized in serious condition after being struck by a box truck while crossing a busy intersection in Nassau County. According to the NCPD, the pedestrian was crossing the intersection of Franklin Avenue and Hempstead Turnpike in Franklin Square shortly after 11 a.m. on Tuesday, November 16th, when he was struck by the truck. The driver, a 34-year-old area man, remained at the scene to assist detectives with the investigation. The pedestrian suffered severe trauma and was transported to an area hospital. So I would think he probably got taken to Franklin because, what's the closest hospital you could go to in that area? No other injuries were reported. The investigation into the crash is ongoing. So, again, News 12 should have had a, news crew sent right away to cover this. But they didn't. So, shame on them. Shame on them. Oh, so it says the man was seriously injured. Okay, so that doesn't say if he succumbed to injuries. Okay, so let's get into the serious story that happened in Fresh Meadows, because this is the one that was on the Queens Courier website. Police searching for a man who allegedly threatened to burn down a Fresh Meadows bagel shop. And I know this store very well. Very well. That's the Q17 bus stop to Flushing. So yeah, I know this very well, folks. This is my own neighborhood. Okay, here we go. The NYPD Hate Crimes Task Force is investigating a case of aggravated harassment after a young man threatened to burn down a Fresh Meadows kosher bagel emporium. Just after 3:30 p.m. on Wednesday, November 10th, the suspect entered the Bagels and Company store located at 188-02 Union Turnpike, while recording with his cell phone as he approached a 26-year-old employee. The suspect allegedly stated to him, as well as several customers that were in earshot, to remove those Israeli flags and shut the business down or I'll burn the building down. So, funny enough, I'm coming home from work at Osnum Hall and this is happening. You just cannot make this stuff up. Crime Stoppers released surveillance video of the suspect entering the establishment wearing a gray hoodie with black sweatpants, a black beret, and white headphones. Councilman James Gennaro said he has good reason to believe that an arrest is imminent from the 107 precinct. Gennaro said in a statement, "Our office has been aware of the threat of the anti-Semitic violence that took place at a bagel store in Fresh Meadows on November 10th, said Councilman Gennaro. Since the incident last week, I have been closely monitoring the NYPD's response and support the good efforts of the Hate Crimes Task Force and along with the 107 Precinct. I will continue to work with the 107 Precinct to ensure the perpetrator is apprehended and justice is served. Threats of anti-Semitic violence have no place in our community and they never will." So, I mean, even though I didn't vote for Gennaro the second time around and I did campaign with Tim Rosen a couple weeks ago, there's a lot of expectations for James Gennaro now, and I'm hoping he's going to live up to that. Okay, so the good news is there is a reward being offered for the public's assistance in identifying the suspect. Anyone with information can call the Crime Stoppers, but I would suggest to call the 107 precinct, and thankfully I have their phone number in my cell phone, so let me just pull it up. That's odd. I thought they were in my contacts. Thankfully, I can pull up the 107 precinct on the computer, so let's just do that. So if you have any information regarding this November 10th incident, call the 107 precinct. Here's the phone number right here. In fact, I'll move it to the right. So let's move it here. Phone number is 718-969-5100. Again, that's 718-969-5100. Remember, there is a $3,500 reward in helping the 107 precinct make an arrest. So, you could get money. Could get money. Anyhow, another thing I want to show you was from Councilwoman Linda Lee. Well, Councilwoman-elect Linda Lee. Now, remember, she is the councilwoman who represents east of 188th Street. So I'm gathering this is probably a coalition of both Linda Lee and James Gennaro, because remember, this is on the council border of 23 and 24. So I'm going to show you this picture that she did tweet. So I'll move it. Can I zoom this out? Let me zoom this out. That's better. Okay, so I will move this a little bit to the right. Last week, Bagels & Co. was targeted by an anti-Semite who threatened to burn down the store for displaying the Israeli flag. No matter your politics, we cannot accept this hatred in District 23. So, I know I'm going to try to possibly visit the store likely after Thanksgiving. I'm going to do so to support my local business. And, you know, I'm not okay with this. And here's the Israeli flag right there. I know this business very well. They've been here for, gosh, ever since I was born, come to think of it, because when I lived in Bayside, every time I would go past Union Turnpike, I'd always see this place. And yeah, I've gotten bagels from here before in the past, and you know, they're more expensive than Fresh Meadows Natural, but, you know, these are Israeli owners, and I know the owners pretty well. Well, not them personally, but I know of them. So, again, New York one ignored this. And in fact, the other lamestream channels ignored this too. So, I will admit they did cover some stories that were of importance, but, you know, they did not mention a lot of the crime going on in the Bronx. There's been so much going on in the Bronx the past couple of days that New York One's just clearly ignored. So I'm going to read you a couple articles from New York One. I have about, let me see. Yeah, I only have about 3 I'm going to read, because nothing about public safety in the Bronx. Nothing about it. See? Nothing. Botanical Garden. Yeah, that's good for everyone else, but what about everybody else dealing with crime? The Bronx is burning right now. Well, this story doesn't take place in the Bronx, but we had a developing story overnight where there was an awful apartment fire in Harlem. And I know 1010 Winds covered this morning, but, you know, this is a very awful story, and I'm glad New York One at least covered it. But no video on their website. I mean, I'll just read the article. An 81-year-old man and a 37-year-old woman died in a fire that tore through an apartment building in Harlem early Friday morning. The fire broke out on the 3rd floor of a 5-story non-fireproof building in the intersection of West 112th Street and Adam Clayton Powell Boulevard around 1:40 a.m. on Friday, November 19th, the FDNY said. A 37-year-old woman identified by police as Ananatu Nini Korma and an 81-year-old man were taken to nearby hospitals where they were pronounced dead, the NYPD said. the 81-year-old man's name wasn't immediately released. A 4-year-old girl, a 1-month-old boy, a 56-year-old woman, and a 44-year-old woman were also hospitalized with injuries they sustained in the fire. All 4 were in stable condition as of late Friday morning. Firefighter efforts were complicated by conditions of heavy clutter at the scene. 4 families were displaced by the fire, and the American Red Cross was notified. The fire marshal is doing an investigation. It is not immediately clear what may have caused the fire. So there's 2 more we're going to read from New York 1. And let me just organize my tabs so that way we can get to an urgent story that happened in Astoria later on after I get to the Bronx crime wave pattern. So, another story. 1 worker dead, another injured in fall from Manhattan Bridge. So this is technically an interest to public safety. 1 person died and another was injured after falling from the Manhattan Bridge on Wednesday afternoon, according to police. Police said that 2 workers, one they believed to be a painter and another a construction worker, fell from the bridge onto the pavement below around 2 p.m. Wow, I mean, this is an awful story. I mean, right before rush hour, the painter was pronounced dead at the scene. The NYPD said the construction worker, who was expected to survive, was found on a landing and transported to Bellevue Hospital. Okay, so that's the important part of the story. The DOT told New York 1 the painter who died worked for Champion Painting, a subcontractor of the construction company Swanson. Police were working to determine what caused the workers, whose identities are not confirmed, to fall from the bridge. So, that is just awful. And again, mind you, this happened right before rush hour. It says here the police briefly closed all lower lanes of the Manhattan Bridge. And then there's 1 more we're going to read, and this was a shooting that happened in Midtown. And in fact, there was another shooting that happened in Manhattan yesterday. In fact, I'll check NYPD 911 on Twitter to see if it was correct in just a second. So I will take a look after, but let's just read this one. Charges are pending against 3 men after a shooting erupted in Midtown late Tuesday evening on November 16th. Police said it includes 2 men who shot themselves along with another man. All 3, aged 19, 27, and 24, are in stable condition at NYC Health Hospital's Bellevue. Investigators said it happened shortly before 11 p.m. on 38th Street between 5th and 6th Avenue. And again, I will say, I first heard about it through NYC Alert 911 on Twitter. Police said there was some kind of dispute inside a nearby building which spilled outside. Charges are also pending against a 17-year-old male who was not injured. Police say that 3 guns were recovered, but it's unclear if they were loaded. So I'm sure Midtown South probably responded to this, because I know Midtown North is, I believe, around Times Square. So if this is south of 42nd Street, I would imagine Midtown South reported to this. Sources tell New York 1 the shooting may be gang-related. So 1010 Wins was saying that this had to do with shooting a music video. So there's that moral of the story right there. So what I'm going to do is this. You have to type in the underscore. By the way, guess what? There was a shooting in Queens, stabbing in Queens last night. Look at this. 31-16 Union Street. Let's see where this is. I believe this is Flushing. Let's see. Yep. I know exactly where this is. You gotta be kidding me. You have gotta be kidding me. Right, College Point. College Point. Unbelievable. So I knew it was somewhere near Flushing. That's technically North Flushing. Yeah, here we go. A lot happened. So here we go. 142 West 49th Street. Confirmed male slash in the hand. Suspect is a male black with a goatee, 6'2" tall, wearing black hoodie, black sweatshirts, purple sneakers, fled westbound on West 49th and northbound on 7th Avenue. So there was a stabbing right by Times Square last night. Again, that was probably from Midtown North. 1305 Amsterdam Avenue. Police confirmed shots fired. So let's see where this is. The problem is you got to give a cross street. Up Morningside Heights, not too far from Columbia University. And that's literally where that girl was stabbed 2 years ago. Okay, and then we got this one. Confirmed male shot in the leg, 103rd Street and 35th Avenue. This is Corona, I think. Oops, hit the wrong button. Yep, told you. Corona. Oh, and then look at this. Robbery at a bank. 6401 Grand Avenue. And I think that's Elmhurst. Oh, this is Maspeth. New York 1, you really need to get your act together. Alright, so let's read this one. Confirmed bank robbery at Valley Bank. Suspect is a male, white, possibly light-skinned. So, there you go. More crime that just keeps happening in our fair city each and every day. Oh, and then this is a disturbing one. Body in the water at Crotona Park in the Bronx. I mean, there is just so much going on here. 301 West 50th. Confirmed knife point robbery. Paper towels taken. Let's see where this one is. Yep. I know exactly where this is. Right by Amadeus Pizza. You just cannot make this stuff up. You just can't. Paper towels taken, so I'm thinking the victim was probably doing grocery shopping at Food Emporium or Gastides. Alright, so the Bronx. What's going on in the Bronx, you may be wondering. So let's read this one. Okay. This was published on... Yep, happened on Tuesday. Okay. 80-year-old man critically injured in a hit and run in the Bronx Tuesday has succumbed to his injuries, meaning the search for the driver is now a homicide investigation. The victim, identified as Tung Ho, was walking southbound on Jerome Avenue in the Kingsbridge Heights section sometime after 6 a.m. when he was struck by a blue Chevy Tahoe traveling in the same direction. The driver did not stop. Police found Fo lying on the roadway with trauma to his head and right leg. He was rushed in critical condition to St. Barnabas Hospital, where he later passed away. So, a couple more in the Bronx I'm going to read. Wild video shows 2 men engaged in Bronx broad daylight shooting. Okay, so it says wild new video. I'll move this a little bit to the left so you can read this. Shows the moment 2 men shot at each other at point-blank range in broad daylight during a Bronx gun battle earlier this week. This happened on Monday, November 15th, before 10 a.m. The gunman, one in maroon pants and black jacket and the other in a black and gray jacket over a multicolor hoodie, pulled out guns on St. Anne's Avenue near East 139th Street in the Mott Haven section, and opened fire almost simultaneously, the footage released by police. One of the men pulls up his arm to shield himself from the gunfire before taking off, along with 2 other people who appeared to be walking with them. One of the suspects ran back to fire off a few more rounds before fleeing. No injuries or property damage was reported. The circumstances leading up to the gunplay remain unclear as cops continue to search for the suspects. The 2 gunmen as well as 2 other men who appeared to be walking with them then took off, so... That's kind of suspicious. Very suspicious. And then look at this, another shooting in the Bronx. New surveillance video shows innocent people dodging bullets, dropping to the ground for cover during a drive-by shooting in the Bronx on Wednesday evening. According to police, 2 gunmen fired shots out of the sunroof of a black SUV and hit 4 people, including an 18-year-old. It happened on Burke Avenue in the Williamsburg section of the Bronx. A 60-year-old woman was shot also in the leg, along with a 15-year-old shot in the back and a 26-year-old shot in the torso, and at least 2 of the victims were innocent bystanders. NYPD community affairs officers visited some of the victims in the hospital in order to offer support. So, oh, look at this. They actually criticized de Blasio. Yep, and they did talk about the story that happened on Monday night at the deli in Harlem. So, says here, still, Mayor Bill de Blasio said it's not good representation of the city. Crime turned around? Really? I mean, my goodness. And then what's this one here? Gunman opens fire out of a sunroof on the Jackie Robinson Parkway in Queens. You gotta be kidding me. Shocking video shows a gunman opening fire out of a sunroof on the Jackie Robinson Parkway on Thursday. So this happened yesterday. Police say the footage was taken around 3:45 p.m. on the Jackie Robinson Parkway near Exit 6 in the Forest Park area. The unidentified suspect took out a gun and let off 2 rounds from inside a black sedan while the vehicle was being driven by another individual westbound on the highway. So this is something out of a movie. I mean, look at this. Authorities said no victims have been found in relation to the gunfire and no injuries were reported. So, again, mind you, that this is a busy highway. I know I was supposed to be talking about the Bronx, but, you know, that's the reality of our fair city. Okay, and then this is the last one. Police are searching for suspects behind 2 separate BB gun shootings in the Bronx. The NYPD says both victims were working when they were randomly shot. The first happened shortly before 11 p.m. on November 3rd in the Williamsburg section. As CBS 2's Jennifer DeAngelis reports, newly released video shows 4 hooded suspects walking towards a fruit stand on White Plains Road. The group first goes behind it, then emerges with one wearing all black shooting the 73-year-old worker in what police say was a BB gun. Another suspect in a gray hoodie appears to record it on a cell phone before bolting. The woman then runs into a nearby store for help. He was treated at Jacoby Hospital for a cut to his face. Several days later, police believe the same suspect struck again at the 219th Street subway station. MTA train conductor Trevor Thomas says he was on board the 2 train when he says he had just pulled into the station when he was shot in the face through the open window. So, it says here the shirt Thomas was wearing that night was bloody from the pellet, which was lodged in his nose and had to be removed. So, according to Channel 7, they believe that these 2 incidents are believed to be part of a prank. Well, I honestly believe that this is a very dangerous prank where somebody could have gotten killed. And I will mention, and I'll give a lot of credit to Charlton DeSouza from Passengers United for being vocal about this. I know me and him were having active phone calls about it last week, because he was one of the first people to find out, along with Jamel Thompson from Progressive Action. They have been very vocal about the conductor who was involved with the BB gun. And, New York 1 ignored it. No surprise. I am just... this TV station's full of it. And then here we go with Astoria. Not covering what's going on in the northwestern section of Queens. So let's read this one. Police from the 114th Precinct, and I hate when this comes up, are on the lookout for a gunman who fired several shots into the air last week. Police say that just before 6 a.m. last Friday, November 12th, in front of Wyco Corp's Auto Repair, located at 20-02 29th Street, across from the Con Edison Astoria yard, the suspect pulled out a handgun and fired off several rounds before fleeing in a black BMW 6 Series. There were no reported injuries as a result of the shooting incident. The gunman was caught on surveillance camera as he left the residential building at 20-14 29th Street, and another camera captured images of him 5 minutes later as he opened fire. Okay, so police say that the shooter is an adult man with a medium complexion. He was last seen wearing a dark-colored hoodie with tan boots and a blue and white New York Yankees baseball cap. And as you can see here, let's rewind this part. You can see here in this video, he did open fire. So there you go. New York 1 ignored it. And then here is our Queens District Attorney. I will say that Melinda Katz is probably drinking a lot of coffee each day, because this woman has been the most active district attorney that I could ever remember for our borough's history. And I do believe, at the way she is going, I think she will get another term in 2023. So, let's get into this other story. One man shot, another stabbed in 2 separate attacks in Queens. So here we go. According to police, at 11:35 p.m. on November 18th, the NYPD responded to a 911 call regarding a man stabbed in Murray Hill. Upon their arrival, officers found 35-year-old Sin Sung Wang unconscious and unresponsive with a stab wound to his chest. Paramedics rushed Wang to Flushing Hospital, where he was pronounced dead. A person was taken into custody in connection to the stabbing, but no arrests have been made. Meanwhile, at 4:25 a.m. this morning, the police department responded to a call regarding a person shot at the corner of 232nd Street and Merrick Boulevard in Laurelton. Upon their arrival, officers found an unidentified man on the ground, unconscious and unresponsive, with gunshot wounds to his head, torso, and leg. The victim was then taken to LIJ Valley Stream Franklin Hospital, where he was pronounced dead. So, New York 1, once again, clearly ignoring major news stories. Time and time again. The agony of repeats. I don't want to get too much into AM New York today. So I will read one more, because I've just had enough of New York 1's insanity for one morning. Cops looking for a teen who found a woman riding Hillside Avenue buses in Jamaica. Police from the 107 Precinct in Fresh Meadows are on the lookout for a teenager who allegedly found 2 women riding buses last week along Hillside Avenue in Jamaica. The first incident of forcible touching occurred between 7:30 and 8:15 a.m. So, wait a minute. What day did this happen? They're not going to be specific about what day did this happen. You kidding me? Are you kidding me? Okay, let me just read the time frame, I guess. First incident happened on board a Q65 MTA bus at 164th Street and Hillside Avenue, when the young man approached a 26-year-old woman and proceeded to press his groin against her rear end. The suspect then exited the bus at 164th Street and 82nd Road. No injuries were reported. Within the next hour, the assailant returned to 164th Street and Hillside Avenue and boarded another Q65 bus. The teenager allegedly approached a 14-year-old girl and proceeded to press his groin against her rear end, as well as grab her rear end over her clothing. The suspect got off the bus and fled in an unknown direction. So they're claiming that this is a teenager. Well, this is not funny. Okay, he's thinking he's just gonna try to get his good self off, but try to do that, you're gonna end up in jail, bud. Okay, so 17 to 18-year-old person. I'm not gonna say if he's a boy or a man, because that's not gonna help. With a dark complexion and black hair. He was last seen wearing a white jacket, dark colored pants, white sneakers, and a blue surgical mask. So, we do have a surveillance video. And guess what, folks? The 107 precinct is investigating this. So, I gave the phone number out earlier. You can rewind back. Or, you know what? I'll briefly put the phone number up again. Very quickly. Here's the phone number. So if you have any information regarding the teenager who is wanted for forcible touching or the anti-Semitic hate crime in Fresh Meadows, you know who to call. Okay. So that's going to do it for one day of insanity from this TV station, Spectrum News 1, who really thinks that they care about the news. Which, in reality, they don't. It's just like News 12 Long Island. Okay? It's just like, this TV station is a complete joke. I'm really getting sick and tired of their antics. Alright? Start covering all the major news stories, New York 1. Stop obsessing over the MTA. Stop obsessing over COVID. Because this is going way too far. That's it. Thank you for watching.